Sup boys and girls. Yeah, I know it's been ages since my last Tap Titans 2 video, and I apologize for those who were really into them. It's just I didn't want them getting in the way of my balloons uploads, and I've been a bit busy lately for a while until recent. Well, and a little bit because of views of course, just gonna be upfront with that. But that aside, after a long month break it's time to catch up with my progress on the game and do a rundown of the good, the bad, and the ugly artifacts. And well, if you recall where I was in the pets video, then you'll see I progressed quite a fair bit. First, let me show you my current artifacts, which has almost doubled since the last video. There you go, all 25 of them nicely laid out on the side for you to observe right now. If you're curious about anything else I have, then just watch the gameplay in the background, as I'll be skimming through everything at least once. So let's start. Keep in mind I probably won't get through all 38 artifacts, so I may have to split it into 2 videos. Book of Shadows. I'm starting with this artifact first because I think everyone needs to know how important this is. If you have 20 artifacts or more and still don't have Book of Shadows, then I would probably recommend quitting the game and uninstalling. Okay, maybe not so far as to uninstall, but Book of Shadows is the best artifact in the game by far, and those who don't have it are in a pretty big disadvantage. The extra relics you get from it accelerates your progress unlike no other artifact, cause more relics means more upgrades to artifacts, which means stronger artifact effects, which in turn leads to a higher stage and even more relics, a never-ending cycle. I was fortunate enough to get this as my 10th artifact, and hopefully you were too, but it sort of sucks to have such a crucial artifact decided by RNG. So next, how about we go over the skill artifacts? There's 3 different types of skill artifacts, one of which can increase the duration of skills, decrease the mana cost, or make the skills stronger. Let's start with skill duration artifacts, all of which I currently own. By the way, the tier column you see to the right here is the tier that the artifact is listed on the beginner's guide on Reddit I linked previously. However, it has become a little inaccurate come late game, so I'll make sure to mention whenever an artifact is stronger or weaker than what's listed on here. Right off the bat, I can tell you that Forbidden Scroll and Swamp Gauntlet are tier 4s at best. Duration doesn't help for a skill you'll almost never use, and the artifact damage will mean less and less as you acquire more artifacts. On the other hand, Ring of Fealty, Glacial Axe and Aegis are great. These are the 3 skills that you should mainly be using throughout the course of your game. Fire Sword starts to fall off once you reach stage 2700 or unlock Pet Auto Attack, but before that Glacial Axe will be great for extending the effectiveness of your Warcry plus Fire Sword combo. I'd put the Aegis artifact slightly above the other 2 because of just how good Warcry is though. Oh yeah, and remember these artifacts also increase the duration of the fairy skill drops, so that makes it even better. Moving on. Same thing pretty much applies to the mana cost artifacts. While they may be shitty if you get them in the early game because of how expensive it is to upgrade them, the 3 amigos, Arcana Cloak, Titan Spear and Oak Staff, will allow you to spam those skills endlessly with a greatly reduced mana cost, good enough to not stay as a tier 4 I'd say. At a certain point you can even get them to cost 1 mana only, so how awesome is that, having nearly free skills to use? As for the other 3 artifacts, they remain tier 5 throughout the course of the game because you're never gonna use them anyway, unless it's 1 mana of course, in which case the slightly faster farming with Shadow Clone or increased pet damage with Critical Strike could be somewhat of a luxury. And the last of the batch, increased effectiveness of skills. It's just my luck that the only skills I own out of this group is the Titan's Mask and Elixir of Eden. Kill me now. But these 3 skill effects are just as good as the duration ones, if not better, because of how cheap they are to upgrade really, and they don't have a max level. The Bringer of Ragnarok is a step below the other two because normally you'll be using Fire Sword in combination with Warcry to push stages, but if you have the Parchment artifact then both Fire Sword and Warcry get better. If you don't know what the Warcry Fire Sword combo is, I'll make a brief comment below explaining how it works. But yeah, Parchment and Laborer's Pendant is absolutely tier 1 combo late game. They help immensely in pushing you past those tough walls, especially now that the Hand of Midas bug is fixed so Laborer's Pendant actually does what it's supposed to. Alright, a few more I'll go over and I'll call it a day. Let's take a look at the type damage artifacts, which increase your overall melee, magic and spell damage, all of which are listed as tier 1. Nothing wrong with that. They are a top-tier artifact at all stages in the game and the bonus they give is too good to pass up on. Each level into these artifacts adds 15% to the base damage, and the fact that their upgrades scale and cost pretty slowly means you can rack up some huge multipliers. Just look at my Charm of the Ancients for example, which I've already put 70 levels into for a multiplier of 11 times more spell damage. I also have Fruit of Eden which is 20 levels behind and stopped upgrading it because I'm at the point in the game where only one damage type really matters, and that is spell. For those who haven't made it that far yet, at around stage 2300 you unlock 3 heroes at the same each with melee, ranged or spell damage, giving you the choice to choose between whichever 3 is strongest for you. Great idea from the devs I gotta say. With that said, all 3 of these artifacts will be super duper useful before you unlock those last 3 heroes. However, once you hit 2300, focus on the damage type where you're strongest in and only put relics of your main damage artifact into that. So yeah, basically only one of these 3 artifacts will be useful at that point and the other 2 are just there to make progressing the early levels easier. If I can count properly then that's 20 out of 38 artifacts covered for this video, so I'll leave the other 18 for next video which will probably be out in 1.5 to 2 weeks, maybe more or less depending on how well this video does. So if you found this helpful or simply want to see another Tap Titans 2 video on this channel, you know what to do. Also just a reminder that I'm still recruiting for my top 500 plan. I generally keep one slot open all the time so people can enter but it takes a couple of days for someone to fill it up usually. So if your max stage is 1000 or higher then the doors are open for you, though I'm a little hesitant if I should keep it at 1000 or move it up considering 3/4 of the clan is already above that mark. Have an artificial day.